me see here. I think one of the hardest things too is the actual speaking process, because if you're learning a different language, finding chances to speak it, especially when you don't have many acquaintances that speak the language, I think that's the hardest part. There we go. How do you practice grammar? Well, one of the things that I do is I go back through my workbook to kind of give myself a refresher. But the refresher only does so good, honestly. Like, if you're not actively speaking the language, you kind of forget things every now and then. But for me, I'll usually go through my workbook for certain lessons that I need to catch up on, or I just listen. I just listen to like different videos or streams, and it usually helps me remember grammar rules by just listening by the way people talk. Let me see here. Why can you read quickly messages in the chat? Honestly, it's just practice. Just practice, like looking over and reading. It's practice. I love speed reading. What's a good way to study for an absolute beginner that makes it less overwhelming? Well, speaking from a beginner's point of view, a way to make it less overwhelming. In my case, I'm gonna be honest, from the get-go, it was always pretty overwhelming. But the thing that made it less overwhelming was constantly coming back to it. Like, you might learn some things and then take a little break and then forget and then relearn those things. It's just continuing to learn until it sticks. Once things started sticking for me and then I would come back and relearn stuff, it made it less overwhelming because I was like, okay, I'm already acquainted with this, I know. And then once I kept repeating that cycle, eventually I was like, okay, I know all of this, I think I can move on and like learn new things. I know it's not the best way to approach it, but it's just that's just what happened to me naturally. Approach it in small, exactly. Yeah, approach it in pieces. Well, I didn't really do that. I tried to approach it all at once. Oh, you are so cute! Oh my god! Sheesh! You're so cute! But no, I think one of the mistakes that I made learning early on was trying to approach everything at the same time. And I really shouldn't have. I think I would have made better and faster progress if I had just made things bite-sized for myself and just kept repeating like that. So yeah, I think learning in like small amounts and continuing to learn until you're comfortable with it and then moving on is probably a pretty good way to approach it. But honestly, I'm just speaking from my own experience. Like, I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I'm literally just a guy that's able to talk from his own experience. So genuinely, just take everything I say with a grain of salt, because different people learn in different ways, you know. Different people learn in different ways.